first one you got, I'm thinking this is going to be you, even though you're an air sign, okay? This is the Nine of Pentacles upright, and she is this independent woman. You know, she doesn't need anybody, okay? She has her own money. She's really grateful. She's not disappointed with her expectations. She hasn't failed. She's succeeded. She's celebrating her accomplishments. She's enjoying the good life. She doesn't have financial setbacks, probably because she's grateful. This is just a culmination of something. Like, you're at 9, and if you were at the 10 of Pentacles, well, then you would be set for life, okay? 10 of Pentacles is the one where you have, like, the family and the relationship and all that, the one that goes long distance. But right now, it looks like you're single, okay? And you're showing restraint and poise and grace. You're very diplomatic. You're not working too much. Even though you have your wealth, you're able to enjoy it. Okay. You're not sacrificing your love for work anymore. If you were, you're going to be with your family or be with people who, like friends, somebody who's, brings you happiness. Okay. And you can see, I mean, she's even talking to the birds. So think of, Snow White. That's what I think of. Just that kind of a character. Very, pure-hearted, okay? To clarify the 9 of Pentacles, we got Ace of Swords in reverse. And I think this is where, like, the issue's coming in, okay? This talks about, like, an upcoming disaster that may have been avoided, or an upcoming disaster that you cannot avoid, or let me think, you just can't, or there's just no disaster at all now. So something that you did, maybe being grateful, something you avoided a disaster. And it could have been what February was all about. You're no longer infatuated with anybody, okay? Because that was the case, it seemed, last month, at least for the majority. It could have been that somebody was unfaithful and you just weren't seeing it. You could have been exploited. Somebody didn't have any feelings for you. And you were just, your willpower had faded, you're confused, and the relationship was in danger. And from what I can tell, you're independent now, okay? So you're grateful to be out of that relationship. You're taking care of your own. You're very fruitful because you have all these grapes, okay? And you're just in harmony with the world. You're on the right path because you're even talking to the birds, okay? And it looks like there's even a snail at the very bottom. So maybe it took you a long time to get here. And February just kind of was the culmination of it. And that's the culmination card. And this is kind of explaining what happened, okay? It was just like a lose-lose situation. And you kind of had to make a decision to get out. See, again, we have it's like a new beginning. Okay, I mean, this is ending. This is new beginning. I think you're waiting to hear from someone. Or perhaps you want a new beginning. This also means conception, multiplication, childbirth. I think you have this card as well. So you may be getting pregnant. Your wish may be, you're independent, but you're only at 9 of Pentacles. You want 10 of Pentacles, which represents family and that long-term relationship. That's what you're wanting. And you may have an excessive love for someone still, and it may be that person, but it's not an infatuation. And again, I don't think you're completely sure of your feelings, but whatever you do, you're going to be fruitful. You have a lot of fruitfulness in here. And you're taking action, or you took action. Your relationship may have suffered, and you just really didn't have the willpower to overcome it. And I think you got out because you're independent. Next, we come to the 10 of Cups. And this reminds me a lot of the Ten of Pentacles, okay? So you didn't get the Ten of Pentacles so far, but you're getting the Ten of Cups. And this is, to me, aside from the Three of Cups and the Nine of Cups, this is the best relationship card you can get. I mean, this is 10. This is like the cycle's completed. You were at 9. You used to be at 1. And even that was in reverse, so it was almost like you were at 0 from scratch. So you had to start over from scratch. You had a lot of changes just in the last little bit. And now you got the Ten of Cups. This is what you want. And I think this is what you're going to get. It just hasn't happened yet. But this is exactly what you want. You want the kids, you want the family, you want complete happiness. Okay? It's just taken you a really, really long time, but represented by this snail, to get to where you're grateful and independent, okay? And just at harmony with yourself and others. So with Ten of Cups, this is marriage. I think that's what you're wanting. I think it's going to end up that way too, okay? Your work and life are in balance. And here you really worked hard on that, okay? You're in balance, yeah, with everything. If you're dating, you're going to have really good luck. You're going to have somebody who has similar values to you. And you're being true to yourself. Okay? I think that's a big change from the last time. And I love it whenever I get to see a reading that doesn't continue from the previous month. Okay? So whatever you did, kudos to you. It worked out really well for you. And yeah, I mean, you're not arrogant at all. You're very grateful. This represents, well, this would be arrogant. This is not arrogant. And you're overall content, but you still want this. Or you recently got this. So, yay. To clarify it, we got justice. So you feel like to have this would be justice for you. Or you feel like justice has come around to you because you did get that. You may still be getting to know yourself a little bit more, okay? But everything is balanced, like we've been talking about. We have like 3 balance cards here. Yay. You're being objective now. There's no more of that fantasy or obsession type of talk anymore. You're being very logical, and you've been victorious, or you will be. You're brutally honest with yourself. You're seeking real love, somebody with logic. And your advancement is or will come from understanding this past, this Ace of Swords in reverse. Because you realize, I'm not able to change the events. I can't do that. And so you've just kind of become peaceful and grateful. And everything is or will be harmonious really soon. And this is Libra, so I just think air sign. So this could be representing you as well. You feel like you've got justice. And you've accepted responsibility for something. And you realize, there's things that are, transitory obstacles or transitory blessings, and there's things that are everlasting. And you realize which is which, and so you're just grateful for the things that are here now, and you're working on the things that will go the distance. Next, you got the Empress in reverse. And this was in your reading last time, and it made me think that there's some of you out there who may have been trying to deceive somebody with a pregnancy. This talks about infertility, especially after a breakup, and not being fulfilled, not having a harvest, not being abundant or fertile. So I think maybe you're coming up with something great, and then there's going to be a little bit of a downturn, but it's not that bad. It just says the matters are unraveling, the truth is coming out. Maybe being indecisive about something. And we have a lack of a marriage. So maybe you really, really want this 10 of Cups. But it doesn't seem like you want it with a particular person just yet. And you're getting a little down because you don't see it yet. This person isn't thinking about you anymore. And one or both of you are just very sad. You're not getting the marriage or the commitment you want. Maybe you used to have it, but you don't now. But it says, you're going to rejoice in public eventually, okay? Even though you're indecisive, it's because the truth came out about something and you just don't know what to do. There's been some arguments. You're trying to work to make things better. You're trying to aim for this, but it's not happening right now or in the near future. You're not talking, and you feel like you've lost some personal power. And there's no meaning in your life. Now, with this in reverse, it could say, after all this, I don't see that, but this could be for a few people. It could be an unwanted baby. I'm not really seeing that. Like, we have lots of fruitfulness, balance, wanting this happy, content relationship that even includes some kids. Like the ideal contentment and perfection. So I'm thinking this is you're not pregnant. Like, you want that, but you just don't have it. At least not yet. To clarify that, I got the Ace of Wands. This is a very sexual card. This stick is usually very phallic, and I can show you because you got it in another card. It's very phallic. You can see the head of the dick. So you got it upright here, and that's clarifying the Empress in reverse. Okay. Let me think. Ace of Wands upright. So you have it upright, and then in a minute you're going to have it in reverse, okay? But this upright is clarifying the Empress in reverse, so I just want you to know that. I think I'm drawing a blank here for a second. Ace of Wands. And it's upright. Okay, so this talks about a new idea or a new approach, good luck, income, and then this talks about fertility. So if you're wanting a kid, here it's saying, you got this card before. Yeah, you did. You got like 3 or 4 of these cards. Here, you're not pregnant, and then here you are. Okay, so I may have to backpedal a little. There's probably a few of you out there who may still be saying you're pregnant and you're not because you want that relationship so bad. But I don't see that for everyone. I think maybe you've been infertile and then you get pregnant. Okay, because Ace of Wands can mean fertility. I thought that's what it meant, but I didn't want to say it until I made sure I got everything. But there's just a mutual attraction, a connection with your partner. You could be getting a new phase, a new home, just a family. Family is starting. You're making your origins, your roots. And it says to go for it and tackle it. But be true to your beliefs. Be optimistic and believe in yourself. And then, that's talking about the infertility, so it just has some hope, okay? But then it comes to the Ace of Wands in reverse. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay? So for some of you out there, it may be you weren't pregnant, you were saying you were pregnant, and then it's found out that you really aren't pregnant. For other groups of you, it could be you're trying to get pregnant, you get pregnant, there's a miscarriage. Or it could just talk about this cycle, how you really want to get pregnant, but you're just not yet. So maybe you did get married, okay, and you guys really want kids, it's just not happening, or you're suffering some miscarriages. But let's talk about Ace of Wands in reverse. If you're really, 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 really wishing for a baby, you're wishing for it too much, and that could lead to crushed plans. Like your hopes are too high. And so the more you think about it, the more it's not happening. Okay, that's what this is talking about. Kind of like, how you watch an egg boil and it doesn't boil for like 50 minutes when it should be 15 that it starts boiling, So it could be there's some kind of emotional or sexual repression, but it's temporary. So you don't really feel connected to your partner because you're not getting pregnant. Maybe, you both want kids and there's just some kind of disconnection between you because it's not happening. Or you're divided a little bit because there was a miscarriage. This also talks about perishing, so there could be like a death of a baby. And this says you can get what you want, okay? But it's like the thorns on the rose. You're going to get that rose, but there just may be some thorns, some obstacles that you have to overcome first. Okay. And then the card to clarify that is Temperance in reverse, which is imbalance. You're just too hasty. Something is an excess. So if your hormones aren't balanced, that can be very hard to make you get pregnant. Okay. And if you are fighting with a lover over something, this talks about you need to just have a big blowout so you can clear the air and then set up some new rules on how to act. And just express yourself clearly and don't do anything to excess. Like this cycle could be your menstrual cycle is out of balance. It's kind of halted right now. And I can see that with the Empress too. And the Ace of Wands in reverse. Let's see. Having two aces in reverse. Let's... I mean, yeah, I do see a little bit of what we had before because you have so many of the same cards. Maybe you really want to be happy, independent. And some of you actually are, okay? But the relationship that you were in or you are in is in danger. And you really want that happiness, that marriage. You want justice. You want everything to be balanced. And you could have feigned a pregnancy or possibly feigned a pregnancy. And then it turns out you weren't. Or you thought you were pregnant and then you turned out not to be because there's some kind of imbalance. And this does talk about excessive love or hate, but I don't see any hate going on here. And then I pulled some Romance Angel Oracle cards. This is mostly about pregnancies from what I'm seeing. I mean, it could be just like fruitfulness in general, but I don't see money going on here. Like, it seems like your money and everything's fine. It could just be a relationship. Your relationship is not producing like you want it to. Or it's not coming at all. You don't have one, maybe. So this is definitely about children. I don't know why. To clarify, the Nine of Pentacles, Ace of Swords in reverse. We have children in reverse. Okay, so your love life is being affected by children, by the lack of children. Or somebody doesn't want children. And we did talk about this could be an unwanted pregnancy. And maybe you were pregnant and you had an abortion. And it's really just thrown you for a loop and imbalanced emotionally. Because you don't have to have kids to have a happy relationship that goes the distance. But yeah, somebody doesn't have children or doesn't want children, and it's affecting your love life. I don't know if that's you or the partner. Then next, as far as the Ten of Cups and Justice, we got finances and career are affecting your love life. Or they're just a factor. And it seems like you're doing very well monetarily, okay? And you are not overworking. Or if you realize you were and you didn't have that imbalance, you got it in balance really quickly. You just made the decision. Then for the Empress in reverse and the Ace of Wands, we have passion. Okay? It says you have to allow your heart and your soul to sing with joy. Like, you have to be open to passion. And how that would go with the Empress in reverse. Well, Empress is about love, as well as in reverse, it's about infertility. So in reverse, you're not being very sensual lovers. You're not married or have this commitment. Here you need to be passionate, be that sensual lover again. So you feel like you're married if it feels like you're not, and you are. Because if you're passionate, that's going to open up the dialogue, bring the meaning in your life. You'll get your power back. And then clarifying the Ace of Wands in reverse and Temperance in reverse. We got wedding. Okay, so there's a marriage involved somehow. I don't know if somebody out there is involved with someone who is married. And so you're independent and you're being very happy. And then, Ace of Swords comes along and you're confused. Your relationship's in danger. You feel like they're not concentrating on you enough because they're with someone. And you really want this marriage, this long-term relationship with them. And maybe you made some kind of a decision that you feel is just. You acted objectively. You got some brutal honesty. You made a decision. You accepted responsibility and said, I can't change the events. So I'm just going to seek real love. And then with the Empress in reverse, you're wanting marriage commitment, you're not getting it. And then with Ace of Wands upright, you need to believe in yourself, be optimistic. Like there's some kind of something new coming in. Maybe it's this, the passion you were supposed to get for that. Maybe you're going to be passionate again, because this is about passion. Like if you're not pregnant, you're just going to be more optimistic and you're going to keep trying. And you're going to be very passionate, just maybe have a lot of sex and get pregnant. Okay. And then wedding comes for the last part with the Ace of Wands. And Ace of Wands talks about not being pregnant or not seeing anything come to fruition when it's in reverse. Just talking about emotionally repressed. But that's temporary, like a fall, some kind of decadence. You could be having joy, but it's just clouded by something having to do with marriage. Maybe you got pregnant and then, your marriage isn't that great. And then you lost a baby. And maybe that caused the marriage to get out of balance when you've lost a baby. Or for some of you, if you found out, maybe you got married when they thought you were pregnant, it turned out you weren't, or you lost it, and everything's unbalanced right now.